cuts of meat that are tender, juicy, and flavorful. Stater Brothers, fresh, affordable, community first.
Good morning, I'm Frank Buckley. A homeowner turns the tables while confronting a burglar outside of his home. More on the fight that ended in gunfire.
I'm Eric Spillman in Van Nuys. Sentencing later this morning for Rebecca Grossman, the woman convicted of murder in the crash that killed two young brothers. She's written a letter to the judge. What it says coming up.
And I'm Gene Kang on a developing story. As you see, detectives on the scene this morning after a mob accused of breaking into this AutoZone, leaving a massive mess this morning with a big cleanup. And more on that, as well as a street takeover. That story coming up.
And good morning, I'm Megan Tellison for Jessica Holmes. Would you swap homes with another family for an entire week? More on the growing trend to save some money on a trip.
I would do that. Hey, it's LZ and for entertainment, and we've got all your box office numbers from the weekend. One came in with millions and millions of dollars. And Andy Garcia, you know him as a super talented actor, right? But did you know he's a celebrated musician? We've got all that and so much more coming up in entertainment.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Henry DiCarlo in for Mark Kriske on this Monday. We're taking a live look into Huntington Beach. Still finding more of the same, right? Beach area is socked in with the marine layer, not stopping people from enjoying the morning there on the boardwalk and the pier. We will get sunshine. We're just going to wait a little bit longer along the coast. The Inland Valley should see an earlier start to sunshine. 85 in the San Fernando Valley. Downtown, 75, 76 is the average. So we're really coming in with temperatures about the norm this time of the year. We do have a warm-up on the 7-day forecast. I'll let you know which days that warm-up falls. We'll do that coming up in just a few minutes. My partner in crime, Kirk Hawkins, good morning to you, buddy.
Good morning to you, sir, as well. Let's head up to the Newhall Pass area. We're talking about the 14 south of the 5 now. Some unknown debris is in the middle lanes. It's causing some problems. In fact, there's a car pulled over to the shoulder with a flat tire. So if you're headed out the door in the Santa Clarita or maybe even the Acton area, you're going to want to watch out for some debris in lanes, creating some delays there on the 14. Now for drivers in Orange County, good morning to you. Here's an update on how your commute is coming together this morning. As you can see, the 91, the 57, the 5, a number of areas of the 405 are seeing some slowdowns as those traffic volumes are continuing to peak. Well, that's the latest on your morning commute from here in the traffic center. Frank, now back to you.
Kirk, thank you. Former socialite Rebecca Grossman will learn her fate this morning. A judge will sentence her for killing two young brothers in 2020 with her car. KTLA's Eric Spillman live in Van Nuys with the latest. Eric, good morning.
Morning, Frank. Rebecca Grossman has written a letter to the judge from jail. She says she's begging for mercy. Basically, she says she is not a murderer. Meanwhile, prosecutors say she doesn't deserve any leniency. They want the maximum sentence for her, 34 years to life in prison. Now, you'll recall that Rebecca Grossman was convicted in February in that crash that killed the two brothers, Mark and Jacob Iskander, ages 11 and 8. Prosecutors say she was driving her Mercedes SUV 73 miles an hour in a 45-mile-an-hour zone when she struck and killed the boys who were in a marked crosswalk in Westlake Village. They say evidence presented at trial showed she had alcohol and Valium in her system and that after the crash, she did not return to the scene or offer any help to the victims. At trial, her defense lawyers tried to blame Grossman's ex-boyfriend, former LA Dodgers pitcher Scott Erickson, claiming that he hit the children first. The jury didn't buy it. They found her guilty of second-degree murder and vehicular manslaughter with gross negligence. Now, prosecutors wrote in their sentencing memorandum to the judge that Grossman should get the maximum penalty. They say, quote, the defendant has never shown an ounce of remorse for her choices. On September 29, 2020, she has never taken a modicum of responsibility. Instead, she's only blamed others. She has blamed the victims, arguing that they were out of the crosswalk, jetted out in front of her car, and that her mother was careless in walking with her children across the street when it was starting to get dark outside. She has lived a life of privilege and clearly felt that her wealth and notoriety would buy her freedom. This was not a tragic accident, as the defense continually states. This was murder. Now, Grossman is married to Dr. Peter Grossman and is the co-founder of the Grossman Burn Foundation, the charitable arm of her husband's surgery practice. Since she was convicted in February, she has been in jail and has tried and failed to get a new trial. Her lawyers are asking the judge to put her on probation. They say she's a selfless humanitarian whose purpose in life is to help those in need. Grossman herself, in the letter to the judge, writes this, quote, "As God is my witness, I did not see anyone or anything in the road. I swear to you, I would have driven my car into a tree to avoid hitting two little boys. From the very beginning, the facts have been distorted and misrepresented, turning the tragic accident into murder and me into a cold-blooded killer. The voices demanding vengeance and retribution are reacting to the tragic loss of Mark and Jacob, but they do not fairly describe me or who I am. I am not a murderer." Now, sentencing is on the calendar for about a half an hour from now. Sometimes in these types of situations, the judge gives relatives of the victims a chance to speak in court. It's called a victim impact statement. We're not sure if that's going to happen in court later this morning. We'll let you know. Send it back to you in the studio.
All right, Eric, thank you for that. And we do continue to follow the breaking news in the Vermont Vista neighborhood of South LA, where LAPD is looking for more suspects in a break-in at an auto parts store. One person was captured after a large mob ransacked the business. KTLA's Gene Kang is at the scene with more. And Gene, good morning to you.
Good morning again. Well, as you see here, detectives are still combing through this area. They've been here for hours since that huge break-in, and talk about a big mess for the AutoZone employees. They're out here with mops. They're cleaning up, and they have a lot of questions themselves. How did this happen? Well, so far, police are saying that a mob forced their way into this AutoZone store in South LA, leaving this devastation. Store employees, well, they don't know exactly what is going on, but they're going to have to go on with their day somehow. Take a look at this. Watch this. Well, as you hear those screeching tires in the background, police report around 50 people broke into the store earlier this morning. They ransacked the place, causing so much chaos, accused of stealing auto parts and then taking off. By the time officers arrived, the large group had scattered, making it quite difficult to apprehend anyone on the spot. Then there's this. Around 3:50 a.m., LAPD received a 911 call about a street takeover nearby at Century Boulevard and Hoover Street. Officers quickly called for backup as the situation escalated. Amid all of the chaos, one driver refused to stop for police, leading to a brief but intense pursuit through the streets. CHP got involved. The pursuit ended in El Segundo. That was near Pepper Street and Sycamore Avenue, where one suspect was finally arrested. Authorities are still investigating and working to identify and locate the other individuals involved in the break-in, as well as the street takeover. Residents in the area, well, they are understandably shaken up, which adds to a series of recent incidents here in South Los Angeles. Now, back out here live, it looks like police officers will be helping these store employees. They have their SUVs out here. There's police tape around the area, and this is still under investigation. They're still looking for all of those people that were accused and involved in the street takeover, as well as this massive mob break-in. Reporting live here in South LA, Gene Kang, KTLA 5 News.
Gene, thank you. Developing news here. 2 people are dead after being struck by an Amtrak Pacific Surfliner train in Van Nuys. The accident happened last night just before 9:30 on Woodman Avenue between Satakoy and Woodman Place. Authorities with the LA Fire Department say the victims are a man and a woman in their mid-30s. We don't have any details on the circumstances that led up to their deaths. No passengers were aboard the train at the time of the incident.
An attempted home invasion in Arcadia happened this morning involving a scuffle between a suspect and a homeowner. Police say a male suspect broke into a residence on Walnut Avenue just after midnight. The homeowners arrived while the thief was inside and confronted him outside. A fight broke out and shots were fired. When police arrived on scene, they located the suspect being held down at gunpoint by that homeowner. Neither the suspect nor homeowners were struck by gunfire. The suspect was transported to a hospital with minor injuries.
California tops the nation for the highest concentration of homes worth at least $1 million, according to the real estate broker Redfin. 81% of San Francisco homes are valued at $1 million or more. San Jose is second on the list, followed by Anaheim, Oakland, and San Diego. LA came sixth with 38% of its homes worth at least $1 million. Honolulu is the first city outside of California on that list. Nationally, Redfin says nearly 1 in 10 homes is worth $1 million or more.
The anticipation surrounding Dan Hurley potentially becoming the next head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers is expected to have a resolution today.
ESPN is reporting that Hurley plans to make a decision on his future today. He's deciding on whether he wants to accept the head coaching job for the Lakers or stay as the coach of the UConn men's basketball team. Hurley met with the Lakers on Friday and left, quote, extremely impressed, according to ESPN. The 51-year-old has won back-to-back national titles with the UConn Huskies. My prediction, he will decline the offer.
Stay at the collegiate level.
You come to the Lakers, you can have a championship season one year and next year get fired.
Yep.
And also it's, you know, at the college level, you can still sort of coach and develop a program a little bit. At the Lakers, you know, you have all these alphas and superstars, and you're just the coach.
Right.
You know?
So you don't think that's the goal for every person, is to make it to the bigs?
I don't think so. I think it has to be the right situation for Mr. Hurley, and I don't know that this one is the right one.
Okay.
That's how, if I was his agent, that's what I would be saying.
That's what you'd be saying.
I agree, and I think basically what you're saying, and I think many would agree, if you're a college coach, you're in control of the entire program.
Yeah.
Top to bottom.
Yeah.
If you're the coach of the Lakers, you're kind of like listening to LeBron.
You're middle management.
You're middle management.
Yeah.
You know, at the end of the day, unless you get that huge alpha like a Phil Jackson type, which I don't know exists anymore.
Right. Or they give you some authority that few coaches have.
Right.
At that level.
Exactly. So.
But doesn't money talk?